Okay, hello scholars. Hope everyone is doing well. So, before I get started, I just want to say that I really appreciate all of you who are working really hard at enhancing your skills, both in technology and in math, with the projects that we have been doing so far. I know it's a bit different from most math classes you've probably been in, and it's a bit of a learning curve for some of you. And I understand that. It also is for me. It's the first time that I'm doing it this way as well. And of course, I never received a math class that was totally on the computer. So I understand if it seems a little bit different. But it is something that I think is going to be very, very helpful for you in your life. Because I do know that no matter which way you go, whether you decide to go to college or whether you decide to go straight into the workforce right out of high school, um, or even venture off and start your own business, these skills that we're practicing are going to be very, very vital for you, both the technology and the math skills. So I thank you for hanging in there. Continue to hang in there. It definitely will get easier the more practice we get. So with that being said, I'm going to start launching a series of tutorials so that we can learn to use the tools that are meant to help us learn the content. Okay, so it's like we're learning two things, but the tools are just really meant for us to be able to understand the content in a better and more efficient way. So with that being said, I want to go ahead and do a tutorial today about Desmos. And I know we have been working with Desmos a little bit so far. Some of you, it seems to come pretty easy, and that's good. Some of you need a little more help, and I certainly will still help you in class whenever you need it. But this tutorial hopefully will help you to be able to get in there, play around with it, and get more comfortable with it, as we will be using it throughout the rest of the year. So let's go ahead and get started. So you can see I have my mouse here, it's moving around. I'm going to start off by going to where we need to get to in Desmos. So you can go into the address bar after you've signed in and pulled up a browser. You can go to desmos.com / geometry, and then this code here that pops up, and it's EIPWJEAUNO. Okay, press enter, and it will take you to the screen that we need. Now, of course, I will be sending this link out whenever we are going to need to use it for an activity. But just in case we're in class and I happen to say pull up a Desmos, this will be where I would want you to go. Okay, so here we have a Desmos screen. Now I have created this, which I named a working graph, and this is the graph that we're going to use to start from for the most part. So this link that we have here will take you to this graph. So I just want to cover the basics on this. Again, many of you are pretty comfortable with it, but this is just a backup. And then for those who are still struggling, hopefully this will help you. So we'll start off on the left here. So on the left, what we have is a menu, okay? And the most important part about the menu here is these two options, the construct and the transform. Okay, the construct and transform. Whenever you do something in Desmos, you're going to have to make a construction first. So you have to construct something, and then you'll be able to transform it into whatever you want to do at that point. So let's go back to construct here and go through these options. So the first one is the select button, and it's this little arrow here. And if you notice, this is pretty consistent with most programs. Most like Windows programs and most Google programs will use this arrow to indicate the select button. Okay, so as we see it moving around on the screen, we have an arrow, and of course, whenever we have an object, this select button will allow you to move it around, and we'll look at that. Next to the select, we have a point, and you click on that, and it gives you the arrow and also the point option. So I'm just doing a couple of points here just to give an example. Okay. Now another important function, as you're working, oftentimes you'll make a mistake or more, and you want to be able to backspace. So just like on other programs, the backspace looks like a backwards arrow or an arrow pointed to the left. So I'm going to press that a few times and erase those points that I had put there. Okay, so now we're back to a blank screen. Okay, next we have a circle. I'm going to go past that one right now because we won't be covering circles for quite some time. But if you want to play around with it, you can go ahead and see how that works. But next is a polygon, and that one is important to what we're doing. So here, it allows you to place points in different places and to make a polygon. So right now I've made a triangle, and what you can see is on this left hand side it gives you the instructions. It says choose a point, which we did first. Then it says choose another point, which we did again. Choose another point, we did that again. And the last instruction here says to choose another point or click an existing point to finish the shape that you are drawing. So I'm going to click on this last point, and that creates my polygon. This one happens to be a triangle. Let's do another. Let's do a square. So here is a square. And click the last one. Okay? And we can do any other type of polygon. And remember, a polygon is a shape that has only straight sides. So I can do something like this. I can cross it or put something like right here. Something over here. You know, anything strange, it doesn't really matter. You can kind of play around with this, okay? So let's go back, erase all of that we just did, and go to our next option. The next option here is an angle. So if I click on angle, it allows me to make some selections. So I go over and look at my instructions here. It says choose a point. So we chose a point. Choose a point which they say is a vertex. So we're going to choose this point right here. Then it says choose a point, the other leg of that point. Now, I've chosen these 3 points here, and what the tool has done is given me the angle, which right here says 90 degrees. Okay. Now, we're going to be moving into angles in our next unit, so we'll cover that more. But in terms of what the tool can do, the tool can create any angle that you choose, that you construct. Okay, here is a 23-degree angle. This one that I'm going to do is a 42-degree angle. Okay, and again, we'll cover what that means a little bit later. So that little area is what we're looking for whenever we are in this angle selection button here. All right, let's go ahead and get that off the screen so that we don't get confused. Come back over. We have a line segment, and I think we all are familiar with what a line segment is, but here's how you can draw one. Choose 2 points, and it gives you a line segment. Point here, point there, and it gives you the segment. Okay, so pretty straightforward there. Okay, and then this one is a entire line. So there's a difference between a line segment and a whole line. Okay, a line goes on forever while the line segment has endpoints. Okay, so that allows you to do that. All right, and then we go into array, which starts at a point and then goes in the opposite direction forever. So it allows us to do that as well. So there'll be times when I have an activity for us to do, and we may need to use a line segment, which is here, a line array. We may use a vector, which is this option. And the other one that's very important is the arc. So if I click on a point, it says choose a point to start, choose a point in the middle. We'll choose right here, and then an end point. And you see, this is like a circle here. An arc is basically a part of a circle. Okay, so that is going to be a very important tool for us in our next unit as well. All right, so that is the construct menu and options as a part of the tool. So the next thing we're going to do is look at the transform, which I know you all are very familiar with. So under the transform option, we have this define transformation button first. Once you click that, you get this drop down menu, and it has all of our lovely transformations. Okay, our reflection, our translation, our rotation. It also has something called a dilation, which we will cover later, but that option is here. So to work these, we can go through and see how you work them. So let's construct something really quick. Here's a quick little triangle. Okay, and I'm going to go into transform now because I've constructed my polygon, which is a triangle, and now I want to do some sort of transformation. So if I choose to do a reflection, it asks me for the important information. So remember, whenever there's a reflection, we have to choose a line of reflection. So I'm going to choose the y-axis. Remember, the vertical is the y-axis. Then it says select some objects to apply this transformation. So I'm going to choose right in the middle of this triangle because that is the object that I want to move. Okay, and once I hit apply, then I get the reflection, which is way over here. Okay, I'm going to go back, and if you close out every time you do a option, it creates a record. But if you close that record out by clicking X, then the operation disappears. Okay, so you can always do that. Let's go to translation. We know that a translation is moving a shape from one place to another. So they ask you for the information that you need to do that. The first information that we need is a point. You choose a point, which you're going to start from. So from, and then choose a point to go to. So we're going to go to this location right here. Again, choose the object and click on apply. Okay, so that is a translation. Let's get rid of that one by clicking the X. All right, get rid of that dot, backspace. Go back into your define transformation and let's go to a rotation. So it asks us for the important information, which in a rotation we need to know the point of the center. So in this case, we will choose 0.00. We're going to do a 90-degree counterclockwise, which is this little arrow that's going to the left. That means counterclockwise. So we're going to do counterclockwise, choose the object, and hit apply. And you can't really see it because it's off of the screen because it's so far, but you can see it if we hit apply again. This one is now been rotated from the one that would be down at the bottom of the screen. Okay, but the important thing to remember is that you have to choose the object, choose which direction, and then click on apply. Okay, so those are really, if we go, let's go back, get rid of those. We'll close that option out. So those are the main important things. Again, dilation we'll cover later. But the main part that we're interested in is going to be the reflection, translation, the rotation, and being able to work these tools to do constructions. Okay, so what I would like is for you to take some time, play around with these functions, and see what you can come up with. And anytime we have an activity, I will give you specific directions on what I need you to do. But for instance, if I say build a shape, then you know to go into the polygon option and build a shape. Or if I say build a line, you know to go into the line function, build a line. Okay, so hopefully that will be helpful. And again, if you're run into any problems and have questions, I'll be happy to answer it while we're in class. But during homework time, really push yourself and try to learn not only the math, but the technology and the tools. Because again, this is going to be very important in your lives. Okay? So I will see you all in class and hope you have a good day, good evening, and be well.